Notes on diet. Diet is often thought of as apolitical. This notion is a product of mind-body dualism. Diet is of the body and politics are of the mind. In a hypothetical society where diet would be quite uniform, where obesity would be rare, and it would be normal to be of good health, it would be difficult to detect any link between food and thought. However, increasingly divides in bodily habits seem to mirror divides in ways of thinking. Right-wing politics have been linked with higher levels of testosterone and with physical fitness. Conversely, the vegan movement has an explicitly leftist orientation, which protests against the victimization of the planet and of animals at the hands of privileged human beings. On the other hand, some right-wingers have been vegan, some vegans are quite strong, and some leftists are quite strong. Clearly, the relationship between diet and politics is not deterministic, but it may still represent a causal influence. The most obvious trend in terms of human health and diet of the last 50 years has been the staggering and ahistorical increase of obesity around the world, specifically in the Western world and those countries influenced by the Western diet and lifestyle. What impact could obesity have on political opinion? And where does obesity come from? Firstly, obesity cannot come from a sedentary lifestyle alone, but a sedentary lifestyle does not help. Historically, hunter-gatherers would travel vast distances in search of food and also migrate from place to place depending on the season, the climate, and other environmental factors. Often hunter-gatherers would follow a herd in its migration across a landscape. This constant travel, walking miles and miles every day at a decent pace, often carrying clothing, food, supplies, tools, weapons, and infants who could not walk themselves, was a huge drain of caloric energy from the human body and kept hunter-gatherers extremely lean. If there was a season of plenty with more than enough food for everyone, members of the tribe might engorge themselves and temporarily gain excess fat. However, given the cyclical nature of primitive fortune, this fat would likely be burned up during a following period of temporary starvation. After the invention of agriculture, human communities no longer needed to migrate vast distances and had an incentive to not stray too far from their farms. Still, farm work involved gathering seeds, tilling the soil, digging ditches for irrigation, weeding the soil, harvesting the crops, processing the food, and so on. Different crops require different levels of effort to successfully develop them, from seed to dinner plate. But anyone who has worked on a non-industrialized farm with acres of land can attest that there is hard work involved. With the Industrial Revolution, the 90% of the population, which had previously lived on the farm, was able to leave for the cities and work in factories. Early factory work was back-breaking and grueling, and inspired Marx and Engels to critique the abuse exacted upon the working class. Whereas farming requires physical labor, it is done outside according to the cycles of nature. One cannot make the plants grow faster by exerting more effort. On the other hand, factory work with machines was only limited by the speed of the worker. Conditions were often dark, dank, dirty, filled with smoke, and swelteringly hot. Women working in a clothing factory or men working in mines or on steam engines all exerted significant energy in order to earn a living. During this period, the capitalist class gained the insult fat cats because they were a class for whom obesity began to appear. The automation of factories has ushered in a post-industrial economy in which physical labor is not required for 90% of the population. There are still some jobs which require physical labor: mining, logging, construction, and so on. These industries are being further automated, and the number of people in these lines of work continues to decrease. The proliferation of locomotive modes of travel have vastly decreased the need for and frequency of walking. No longer do we need to bring up water from the well. Even the act of driving itself, which requires only that one pay attention, will soon be automated. Yet despite all these changes, the relationship of food and exercise can be demonstrated by the sumo wrestler. The relationship of food to exercise. Sumo wrestlers are athletes who intentionally become obese by consuming more calories than they burn. Sumo wrestlers are strong, active, and powerful, yet they remain obese because of their carbohydrate and protein-rich diet. What has changed in the Western diet in the last century? In 2 world wars, Germany was under siege. That country of tens of millions had imported many of its raw materials and foodstuffs from abroad. However, during wartime, things like butter became scarce. German scientists turned toward alternative cooking oils. One such scientist was Arthur Imhausen. From coal, chemists like Imhausen were able to produce synthetic paraffin wax. Imhausen then took this wax product and oxidized it to produce a new form of cooking oil, similar in consistency to butter. This process could create 1 pound of synthetic butter from 60 pounds of coal. In 1937, the German government issued a declaration to the effect that while Imhausen had Jewish ancestry, he and his family would be considered non-Jewish as a reward for his efforts in chemistry. And sort of as an aside, the fact that you can extract synthetic fats from coal is really just a form of ancient vegetable oil, if you want to think about it that way. Around the same period, the Great Depression had a similar effect on the American economy, where consumers could no longer afford butter, and cheaper alternatives were proposed, composed of vegetable waste. The word margarine originally refers to a cream made from beef fat rather than the churned milk of butter. Already by 1911, advances in chemistry led to the development of crystallized cottonseed oil by Procter & Gamble, which they marketed as Crisco. By 1945, margarine became redefined, not as a beef fat product, but as a conglomeration of vegetable waste. At this time, margarine had a white color rather than a yellow color like butter. Margarine producers attempted to fool consumers by dyeing it yellow, but this was banned as a matter of consumer protection. However, by 1955, these protections were removed, and margarine was again marketed as a healthier alternative to or improvement on butter. Margarine today is not made out of coal, but out of vegetable oils from safflower, sunflower, soybeans, cottonseed, and rapeseeds. The word canola oil was originally a trademark name of the Rapeseed Association of Canada, and the name was a condensation of can from Canada and ola meaning oil. Thus, canola oil is a euphemism for rapeseed oil. In 1995, rapeseed was genetically modified so that it would better withstand harsh chemical herbicides used to kill weeds. This artificial creation was named Roundup Ready Canola. As of 2005, 87% of the rapeseed growth in the United States was genetically modified, and in 2009, 90% of the Canadian rapeseed was genetically modified. Multinational corporations defend the use of genetically modified crops and state that they pose no health risk, an attempt to financially threaten small farmers such as Percy Schmeiser who disagree with them. Unlike the cigarette companies who knowingly lied about the safety of cigarettes. And unlike DuPont, who knowingly lied about the safety of Teflon, we can safely assume that Monsanto is telling the truth when they say that genetically modified crops pose no health risk. However, at the very least, we have to recognize that when Monsanto genetically modifies rapeseed to be hyper-resistant to herbicides, the reason why they're going through the trouble to do this is because they are drenching their crops in herbicides. A study from 2017 found that low levels of exposure to herbicides resulted in decreased sperm motility. So even though they claim herbicide, it's only meant to kill plants, it doesn't harm animals at all, human sperm is affected by low levels of exposure to herbicides, the kind you would find in your fruit or in your vegetable oils. We can also assume that if Monsanto is dousing their crops with herbicides, they are also dousing them with pesticides to prevent them from being eaten by insects. Pesticides. A 2015 study from Harvard found that pesticides also lower sperm counts. Rapeseed is high in glucosinolates. According to the Department of Animal Science at Cornell University, poultry and swine and other non-ruminants can tolerate 5 to 10% of rapeseed meal in their diets due to the presence of these glucosinolates. Beyond this level of toleration, symptoms of glucosinolate poisoning include reproductive issues. Furthermore, rapeseed has a 2-to-1 ratio of omega-6 fatty acids to omega-3 fatty acids. Omega-6 fatty acids initiate or aggravate insulin resistance, while omega-3 fatty acids found in butter and fish oil prevent insulin resistance. Insulin is a hormone which reduces blood sugar. Greater insulin sensitivity allows the body to deal with spikes in blood sugar, to harness that energy, and to use it toward natural bodily functions. However, insulin resistance represents the sluggishness of the body in its reactivity to insulin and is linked with lipotoxicity. Lipotoxicity is the accumulation of lipids outside of the fat cells. So typically, you're really only supposed to have lipids inside your fat cells, but lipotoxicity is when there are all these lipids around your body where they really shouldn't be. Now, lipotoxicity is probably something you've never heard of before. It's probably something that sounds quite obscure, maybe a rare disease or something like this affecting, 1 out of every million people. Lipotoxicity affects 25% of Americans. Not surprisingly, insulin resistance is also linked with obesity. Rapeseed here is not unique. Flaxseed, safflower, sunflower, soybeans, cottonseed, and hemp oil all have less omega-3 than omega-6. Furthermore, many of these vegetable oils, such as soybean oils, contain huge amounts of xenoestrogens. These xenoestrogens are not produced by the body, but interact with the hormonal system in a similar way to estrogen. For example, the body responds to the hormone estrogen by increasing fat production, especially around the breasts. For women, the introduction of xenoestrogens is resulting in the earlier onset of puberty. The classical depiction of female breasts for adult women shows that something approximating the C-cup bra was considered ideal. That is, breasts which, when a woman stood naked, would not necessarily touch each other, but would remain separate and firm. This artistic idealization does not necessarily accurately reflect the historical average, but should give us pause to recognize the correlation between estrogen breast size and what is considered average breast size today. Women are under such incredible social pressure to have larger breasts that instead of having children and breastfeeding, which naturally increases breast size, they're often purchasing these expensive breast implants, which are sometimes known to explode during plane travel and cause extreme health problems. Besides the fact that xenoestrogens exist in vegetable oil, which is the basis of fast food, fried food, and the American diet broadly, we are also exposed to xenoestrogens in plastics, as well as chemical liners of cans and bottles. There is a positive feedback loop between estrogen and fat. The more estrogen you are exposed to, the more fat your body produces. The more fat your body has, the more estrogen it produces. Psychologically, what is the effect of all this? The Western populace is fatter, more sedentary, more lazy, and more estrogen-rich than ever before. This general physical immobility does lead to a kind of psychological immobility in self-perception. My hypothesis is that individuals who are fatter will report lower levels of self-perception of agency. For example, they might make the statement, "My fatness is a reminder that I am incapable of self-control," or, "I couldn't even run a mile, therefore, how could someone like me ever change anything?" Or, "I'm ugly, therefore I'm worthless, so I shouldn't even bother." The obesity of the Western populace may possibly have political effects. A fit populace would have higher levels of self-esteem, higher self-assessments of agency, and higher levels of aggression. Today, the term civility refers to a person's ability to tolerate insults and degradation and humiliation without ever protesting or fighting back. A civil debate is one in which everything is relative and no proposition should ever rise to the level of a violent reaction. However, this modern definition of civility is opposite to its origin in the word civis, which refers to a settler or citizen. The citizen had rights, responsibilities, and also honor. Just as the citizen was responsible for the defense of the settlement against attacks, so too the citizen was responsible to protect their honor and defend it if necessary. The tradition of dueling has a long history in the European tradition for this reason, and was practiced at the highest levels of the early American government. For these men, civility meant to uphold that which is decent, that which is honorable. When honor was egregiously attacked, they recognized that to maintain honor, violence was necessary. In the Japanese warrior tradition, seppuku refers to the violence one inflicts on oneself to maintain honor and civility. With the decline of warrior culture in the Western world, violence is no longer the guardian of civility, but its enemy. This shift in the thinking of the elite is reflected either by accident or by cause in the diet of the population, which encourages a docile, sluggish, helpless, slow, consumerist, self-hating, and ugly way of thinking. All of this has consequences for the political sphere. What should we do? If one likes the sound of the average American mindset, then there is nothing to be done. Otherwise, it may be necessary to fast, to avoid vegetable oils, and to return to butter. As far as vegetable oils go, coconut oil has the best ratio of omega-3 to omega-6. Each individual is different. Some will need to focus on losing weight, while others with a faster metabolism might focus on training their body to be of good posture, good bearing, and good health. Like many other subjects, there are many different correct answers to the problems of diet and health. However, while we might disagree on what is good, hopefully those of diverse views might come together in agreement on what is bad, and unite in avoidance of those things which are poisons, either accidentally or intentionally so. This is Notes on Diet. a very short little 20-minute essay. Depersonalization hours. I don't know what that refers to. Maybe the fact that the camera isn't centered. That's fine. Message retracted. Message retracted. The only people I've ever known to use margarine were obese. Oh, well, all kinds of vegan ladies love margarine. I was just taking a look. They have like Country Farms spread. I should have bought it just to show you the ingredients. It's like rapeseed, cottonseed, canola oil, sunflower oil, safflower oil. Ken is flammable? I don't know. I don't know why I'm flammable. Drop in knowledge. Do not harness that energy, Kendall. Is that like the Kardashian, Kendall? Take omega-3. Problem solved. Ken is a bodybuilder, very strong man. Nope, just spitting straight facts. Love me or hate me. Diet builder. Yeah, that's a better one. Quantifying breasts. We are quantifying the breast. Kenneth, exploding breast implant. Yeah, breast implants, they are known to explode. It is a tragedy. I have a boomer father who is so entrenched in reactionary free market ideology that he rolls his eyes and protests against the promotion of organic farming. Well, there is a lot of scamming that goes on in organic farming. Legally in America, in order to put the word organic on something, there's really not much that the government forces you to do. So basically anyone can just slap organic on a product, and there's really not much regulation that goes into differentiating organic products from non-organic products. That's not to say that we couldn't come up with a definition of organic that was actually strict and then apply that definition and then have, healthier food. But it's to say that you sort of have to maintain a level of skepticism that just because it says organic doesn't mean that it's not genetically modified. Just because it says organic doesn't mean that they're not using pesticides and herbicides, which are quote unquote organic, like I think peppermint oil. But peppermint oil is not really good for you because it's one of these vegetable oils. Essentially, it's in the family where peppermint oil. I mean, it's not really good to just be drinking gallons of peppermint oil or whatever. So they use this they use this concentrate of peppermint oil and they spray it on all the plants and they call it organic. But then we're not really considering what is the consequence of that. But that's kind of, I'm not really prepared to talk about peppermint oil. Maybe we should do a peppermint oil research project. But yeah, the attitude of American right-wingers with respect to diet, I find, is pretty ignorant, pretty uneducated. We just invented the ultimate bioweapon, canola oil-filled breast implants. Yeah, it is I don't know why this binge watcher person keeps calling me Kendall, as if this is gonna grind my gears or something. But I have wondered if a woman just drank gallons of, soybean oil every day, what would happen? Would her breast size necessarily increase? Like, what's the correlation? Is this an ethical study to be conducting? I don't know. Let's see. Obesity is linked to low social capital. Is the use of GMOs and BPAs a result of capitalism or high-low versus the middle strategy? I don't think it needs to be an either or. I think it can be both, although proving that is difficult. Are GMOs even bad? I didn't undertake to prove that GMOs are bad, just to point out that the reason why specifically these plants are being modified is so that they can then douse them in chemicals. So, if they weren't genetically modified, they would have to use less chemicals. So genetic modification enables them to use more herbicides and pesticides. Joe Rogan has found some success with a carnivore diet. I don't think Rogan is into keto. There's a clip of him saying he was carnivore during January. I don't know what Joe Rogan's diet is. But there's a lot of stuff to do. There's a lot of stuff to talk about. There are a lot of video ideas that I've been thinking about mulling over in my brain, thinking about expounding upon certain ideas, making different videos. But I am going to try or endeavor to do one topic per video. And this was the topic for this video, and there'll be other videos with other topics. I did think I said last time that I would drop the customary link in the chat. The purpose of this Discord is not really to see people posting edgy stuff and right-wing political websites in my Discord, to reiterate. I mean, if you want to post links to data and empirical things and mainstream or left-wing things, I'm fine with that. But really the purpose of the Discord is to get people on the channel. I think the dialogue with Torin went well, even though, you know, some people might find some aspects of it controversial. I still am interested in having more people come on the channel. I think people like that. I think I like doing that. I think that's a positive thing to do. So that's the main purpose of Discord for me, is you can talk to me. If you want to come on the channel, we can set up whatever you want. You want to have a debate, you want to have a discussion, whatever you want to do, I'm open to collaboration. So that's the link for 5 lucky winners for today. 5 people paying attention, 5 people can jump in. And if there's something you want to talk about, debate, whatever, I'd be interested to start hosting some people. That's really the purpose of it. Other than that, yeah, I've got nothing more. Can you believe that we're doing a video for less than 30 minutes? But last time, I couldn't figure out how to end the stream. So this time, we're going the absolute opposite. And we're just ending it abruptly around the 30-minute mark. It's a very short stream. And like I said, you know, the reason now I'm streaming instead of pre-recording videos is because if I pre-record a video, I have to press play, I have to press stop, then I have to go through the YouTube upload system. I have to say, no, I don't want the new upload system, I want the old classic style. I have to wait, you know, the length of the video. If it's a 30-minute video, I have to wait 30 minutes for it to upload, 30 minutes for it to process. Then I have to choose a thumbnail, and then I have to publish it. Whereas here, I can open up OBS, I can change, you know, the size of the video screen, I can add images, I have a lot more flexibility. I can change the size of my face, I can make myself big or small or whatever. I can't do that with the built-in video recorder. I suppose you can record videos on OBS, but it's like, if we're doing that anyway, why not just do that? So I see 2 people have joined. Mikey Mike, Pessimistic Idealism. If you want to DM me your YouTube username so I know who I'm dealing with, then we'll bring you into the fold. Because I see people keep changing their names around, and it's very confusing to me. I just want to know who the heck these people are who are coming into the Discord. Yeah, like the video. Thank you for reminding me, Menthol Gold. If you liked the video and you press thumbs up, you increase the chance that other people will see it. So we got 4 likes out of 20 viewers. Not a very exciting topic, not a riveting topic, but something that is still important nonetheless. Thanks for checking in. Thanks for tuning in. Oh, Mike is Mike. All right. Mike is Mikey Mike. All right. And we'll find out who everybody else is shortly. But that's it. 30 minutes, having a little bit of discipline, ending the stream. We will come back in the near future to cover other topics. If you would like to make a suggestion for what we should cover in the future, you can leave a comment on this video once it processes, or you can leave a comment on a different video. I will check the comments. And you can also, if you're in the Discord, you can make suggestions via Discord. There's 8 comments held for review. Man, that's because everybody's swearing. So I'm actually not going to allow people to insult Islam on my YouTube channel. That's actually not going to happen. So I'm approving some of these comments. Let's see. There's so much swearing. This is something that I don't know what to do here. This is very strange. Okay. I've approved pretty much all of the comments that were held in review. And now I can see what people have been saying. If anyone has been saying something that I should respond to. Cool guy, Dutchman. Channel comments. It's only showing it for the rock bottom video. That's strange. YouTube's kind of glitching out. Cool mathematical model to apply to philosophical matters. Check that out. It is a chaos theory thing. Okay. I think we've exhausted this. So much for discipline. I've gone 2 minutes over. I'm doing better than last time. 2 minutes over, everybody stop swearing, and I'll see you next time. Yeah, it's a short stream. We will do longer streams in the future. Bye-bye.